Hi everyone, I'm running through the answers for electricity worksheet. If there's anything that you don't understand, please take it down and ask me during our next live lesson, or you can just send me a question via Telegram. Okay, right, so for this question, they want to ask for a component that can vary the current. Now, vary the current means you want to change the current. You can increase or you can decrease it. So in this case, the rheostat will be the correct component to choose. A rheostat basically is a component that can change the resistance. So when you change resistance, so basically what happens is when you change the resistance, you actually end up changing the current as well. And what happens again when you change the current? Well, if you attach this to a light bulb, when you change the current, the light bulb becomes brighter or dimmer. So in this case, this is attached to a radio. So when the current is larger, the radio becomes louder. So when your current is smaller, then the radio becomes softer in volume. Question 2 talks about require you to know the definition. So what is current? Now you can see that I make a mistake here because I didn't read carefully. A would be a very tempting choice if you didn't read carefully. It says it's the rate of change of charges. No, it's the rate of flow of charges. Basically, it means how much charge flow in 1 second. So the more charges flow in 1 second, the higher the current. So this is known as the rate. So each time we see the word rate, it means in 1 second, how much charge flows. Let's go on to question 3. So what must you supply to a circuit before current can flow? Remember, current means flowing charges. The charges are flowing, and the charges are always there in the battery or in the electrical component, but you need to push. So you need to supply energy, right? Without energy, the charges will not flow. So remember the marbles. If the marbles are all placed straight, they will not be able to move around. But if I tilt it up, it's like when I supply energy, then the current can flow. So in this case, when we say supply energy, which one is related to energy? And it's the voltage, right? So the word voltage basically tells us the amount of energy that you supply to a circuit. Question 4. Now question 4 is quite tough actually. So let's listen carefully. The effective resistance of two resistors are 5 ohms. Now the word effective means, in a way, you can think of it as combined resistance. Okay, so the combined resistance is 5 ohms. So how are the two resistors attached? Now before we do question 4, I need to remind you that when you connect two resistors like this is resistors in series, right? So when you connect two resistors in series, the effective resistance actually increases, which means when you connect, so let's say initially you only have one, when you connect one more, the total combined resistance is bigger. If you were to add another one more, it will increase even more. So the more you add in a series, the larger the effective resistance. However, the opposite will happen when you have resistors that are arranged in parallel. So let's say you have one resistor here. If you were to add one more resistor in parallel to it, the interesting thing is now the combined resistance here, or what we call the effective resistance, will decrease. So if I add one more to it, it will decrease even more. So the more I add, actually the resistance becomes even smaller, right? So for parallel, the more you add, the smaller the effective resistance. For series, the more you add in series, the larger the effective resistance. So you have to remember this first. And so they say, so which one such that you will end up with 5 ohms? If the two resistors are 5 ohms and you connect them in series, it will be bigger than 5. If the two of them are connected in parallel, the effective resistance should be smaller than 5. But the question says it's 5, it's not bigger or smaller. So these two cannot be the choices. The two 10 ohm resistors are connected in series. So if it's 10 ohms and you put them in series, it should be even bigger than 10. So it's more than 10. Again, it cannot be 5. So that leaves us with only the last one, where you have two 10 ohm resistors connected in parallel, because that would mean that the effective resistance must be smaller, right? So smaller than 10. So this is the only one that is possible, because your answer has to be 5. So 5 is smaller than 10. So D is the answer. Okay.